Hi everyone, it's Saloni Goyal. Today we'll be discussing another chapter of Hornbill, and that is Landscape of the Soul by Nathalie Trouveroy. Landscape of the Soul is a chapter that is divided into two parts. The first part is the power of art and the second part is art brought. In the power of art, we'll be dealing how the Chinese and the European paintings influence the mind of its viewer. The first part starts with the story of Tang Emperor in the 8th century, Xuanzong. Now Xuanzong asked a Chinese painter Wu Daozi to paint the wall of his palace. When Wu Daozi is painting the walls of the palace, he hits all his paintings behind the screen so that no one can see it. Now when the painting is completed, the Chinese emperor is called to look at the painting. He really likes the painting. It has waterfalls, rivers, lakes, trees, bushes. At this point of time, Wu Daozi feels that the Chinese emperor is concentrating only on the outer appearance of the painting. He's not dealing with the inner voice that the painting is trying to tell. So what he does, he tells to the emperor that let me take you to a journey inside the cave that is at the foot of a forest. Now the Chinese painter Wu Daozi, he stands in front of the cave and he claps his hand. As soon as he claps his hand, the entrance to the cave opens and he goes inside. The emperor is really confused at this point of time. But before he can actually say anything, the painter again claps his hand and the entrance closes. Now, after this episode, Wu Daozi was never heard of. People never got to see his other works because the painting that he did for Xuanzong was the last painting of Wu Daozi, after which he disappeared behind the cave. In a second episode, there is a Chinese painter who is painting a dragon. Now the Chinese painter is very hesitant to draw the eyes of the dragon. Why? Because he believes that if he draws the eyes of the dragon will fly away. In a third episode, there is a European master blacksmith, Quentin Mistis, who falls in love with the painter's daughter. But the painter does not approve of the alliance. Why does he does not approve? Because the painter does not want his daughter to marry a blacksmith. Now once what happens is, Quentin Mistis, he quietly goes into the apartment of the painter and he looks at the painting of the painter. What he does is he takes paint and he draws a fly on the painting. When the painter comes back, he sees a fly and he tries to remove that fly from his painting, not knowing that it is not an actual housefly, but it is actually a piece of art, a piece of painting on that piece of work. Eventually, when the painter realizes that the fly is not real but a piece of art, he gets really impressed with Quentin. Not only does he marry off his daughter to him, but he also appoints him as his formal trainee. So all these episodes talk about the power of art and the influence of art on its viewers. In the Chinese paintings, we see that there is more of imagination and creativity, whereas in the European painting, there is more of realism. The Chinese painters believe more in spirituality and ethnicity. They talk more about the inner voice of the painter, whereas the European paintings, the painter paints what he actually wants the viewers to see. There is no any hidden meaning behind the painting that he has drawn. So Chinese painting and European painting are very different here. The next thing we need to know more about the Chinese paintings is that they believe in the concept of Shan Shui. Shan Shui is actually, it means mountain water. Mountain means yang and water means yin according to the Chinese people. And yang stands for masculinity, whereas yin stands for femininity. So Shan Shui is a very important concept that is associated with Chinese paintings. Next, we have to understand the three paintings that we discussed. The first painting was of Wu Daozi, the second was of the dragon, and the third was the fly painting. All these three paintings talk about the power of art and its influence on its viewers. In the second part of the chapter, we'll be dealing with the concept of art brut. Art brut is an art by those artists who have no right to call themselves as artists because they have not received any formal training. Yes, art brut is a very important concept. It is an art of those people who have not undergone any training, who have not received any certificates, yet their art is very pure, yet their art is very true. So the example of art brut that we can see in India is a rock garden in Chandigarh. Have you ever been to Chandigarh? If not, you please be and see the rock garden by Nek Chand. Nek Chand was, he was a person who had not received any formal training, yet what he has done with the rock garden is an example of masterpiece. All the statues in the rock garden is made up of material which is recyclable, and also has used the already used and broken material to make his statues come into life. So rock garden is actually a very important example of art brut, which is by an artist Nek Chand, who has not received any formal training, he has not got any certificate, yet his art of rock garden speaks for itself. Even today, many people go and visit Chandigarh only because they want to see the famous rock garden. So Landscape of the Soul overall is a chapter that deals with paintings. It deals with the contrast between the Chinese painting and the European painting. The Chinese painting concentrating more on imagination and creativity, whereas the European painting focusing more on realism. Then it talks about famous painters like Wu Daozi, who after painting Xuan Zhang's painting, he disappears into the cave, and that was known to be his last painting. Then we know about the dragon painting. Then we also discuss about the fly painting, the fly that was so real that it actually made the painter very surprised. And eventually we have to talk and know about the concept of art brut. Thank you. This is it for today. We'll be discussing more chapters next time. Till then, please like, subscribe and share our channel. Thank you.